Same-sex marriage became the law of the land back in 2015. Since then, hundreds of thousands of same-sex couples have tied the knot. But discrimination remains, especially for gay and lesbian couples, because they have long been denied survivors' benefits that had been limited to conventional married couples. Now, the Biden administration is trying to fix that. It has begun paying out large sums of money to surviving partners who previously were not allowed to get married. The problem is, not everyone who's eligible for a payout knows it. And even more challenging than that, a lot of these surviving partners are getting up in years. So it's a race against time to get them what they're owed before it's too late. This all came about because of lawsuits filed by the LGBTQ legal advocacy group Lambda Legal. And joining us now is a counsel for Lambda Legal, Peter Wren. Mr. Wren, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me, Joshua.
How did all of this come about?
Well, it really came about as a result of people in the community reaching out to us to explain that they were still suffering harm, as you mentioned, even though we had marriage equality in 2015. And the problem is that in order to receive Social Security survivors benefits, the Social Security Administration generally required people to be married for at least 9 months. And the problem for people in our community is that a number of couples were not able to be married for 9 months. In fact, many of them were not able to be married for even a single day because of discriminatory marriage laws that were on the books at the time. So what happened was that these surviving partners of same-sex relationships were really stuck between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, the government was telling them, well, you need to be married in order to get these benefits. But on the other hand, these couples were also told when they were both alive that they couldn't get married. And as a result of the successful class action lawsuits brought by Lambda Legal, there's now a pathway to benefits for people who have, until very recently, been wrongfully locked out of benefits through no fault of their own.
Before we get into that pathway to benefits, I wonder if you have any sense of how many of these kinds of legal loose ends there are. I mean, I think it was amazing for a lot of straight people to realize the cornucopia of benefits that gay people were locked out of just because we couldn't get married, and this kind of floodgate of things that become available once the law will recognize same-sex marriages. Are there still a lot of these benefits that are left in this unequal state?
I would say that Social Security survivors benefits are probably one of the main issues that couples were still facing even after marriage equality, because your access to benefits is determined by whether or not you were able to be married in the past. So even after marriage equality became the law of the land in 2015, that helped things for couples going forward, but not for the couples who were never able to walk down the aisle at all, for example, before one of them died. And these benefits in particular are incredibly important. They can make the difference between whether or not you're able to essentially live comfortably in your retirement years. And we know that there are so many people out there, potentially thousands, who stand to benefit from these recent legal developments, but are totally unaware of what's changed. And so it's an incredibly important part of our work going forward to get the word out to everyone who potentially may benefit from these legal wins that we've achieved.
All right, let's see if we can get this information out to people who would benefit from it. How do people know if they would be eligible for these benefits? Are there certain qualifications or, a list of things they might consider in terms of whether this might apply to them?
Sure. In a nutshell, people are now eligible for survivors benefits if they can show they would have qualified, but for the discriminatory marriage laws that stood in their way. So I can give an example of our client, Helen Thornton, who was a woman in Olympia, Washington, who was with her same-sex partner for 27 years. They met in the 1970s, and throughout that time, they were barred from marriage up through the point that Marge Brown, Helen's partner, passed away in 2006. And when Helen went to apply for Social Security survivors benefits when she turned 60 in 2015, she was turned away by the Social Security Administration. But as a result of the victories that we achieved in the lawsuits, she was able to receive past due benefits of more than $70,000 as well as nearly an extra $1,000 a month in Social Security survivors benefits. And the analysis essentially that the agency here engages in for applicants is determine whether or not discriminatory laws are the reason why they were prevented from qualifying for benefits. In Helen's case, they've been together.
I'm sorry to cut you short, but I know I got to let you go in just a second. I want to make sure we get the information out. For people who think that this applies to them, where should they go? What should they do? Who should they contact? Do they just contact Lambda Legal?
Two steps. The first step is that they can absolutely visit our website at lambdalegal.org, where there is a frequently asked questions document that can guide people through the application process. And the second step, and really this is the most important, is that people need to apply with the Social Security Administration. These benefits require people to take affirmative action in order for people to get what they're owed. And so that involves contacting your local Social Security field office to set up an appointment where the representatives have instructions that will allow them to help process your application.
So go to lambdalegal.org and contact your Social Security field office. Do both to get that process rolling. Peter Wren of Lambda Legal, I really appreciate you talking us through this tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joshua.